After breakfast, I lay out my plans for the day.
何？学校に行くだと？
You're going to school?
ええ。何か問題あるかしら、あーちゃん。
Yes. Do you have a problem with that, Archer?
問題はないが、しかし、それは。
It's not a problem, but... Excuse me. Archer looks reluctant, but doesn't protest. After spending a whole day with me, he probably understands how that Tosaka doesn't go back on her word when she's made up her mind. I can sense his disagreement, even if he doesn't voice it, but I've also learned that Archer has a sincere side beneath all the sarcasm. He won't whine about a decision he's accepted. Yep, he's loyal and awkward like that. That's what my intuition says, at least, after watching him yesterday.
リン、マスターになったからには常に敵マスターを警戒しなくてはならない。学校という場は不意の襲撃に備えにくい場所だろ。
Rin, now that you're a master, you need to always be wary of enemy masters. If you're ambushed at school, it'll be difficult to protect you.
そんなことはないけどね。いいあーちゃん。私はマスターになったからって今までの生活を変える気はないわ。それにマスター同士の戦いは人目を避けるものでしょ。それなら人目につく学校にいれば不意打ちされることはまずないと思うけど。
Not necessarily. Listen here, Archer. I don't intend to alter my lifestyle just because of this. Besides, masters fight out of public view, don't they? I don't think anyone would try to sneak up on me in front of everyone at school.
そうか。リンがそう決めたのなら私は従うだけだ。
If that's your choice, then I'll follow along.
だが、霊体化して君の護衛をするぐらいはいいのだろうな。まさか、学校に行っている間はここに残れ、などとは言うまい。
But at least let me stand guard in spirit form. Surely you don't intend to go there without me.
当たり前じゃない。学校に限らず、外に出るときはそばにいてもらうからね。マスターを守るのもサーバントの役割なんだから。頼りにしてるわ。
Of course not. You'll stay with me whenever I'm outside, not just at school. That's a servant's job, so I'm counting on you.
それを聞いて安心した。信頼に応えるのは騎士の務め。せいぜい期待に沿うとしよう。
I'm glad to hear it. A knight has a duty to repay his lord's trust. You won't be disappointed.
だがリン、もしもの話だが、その安全な場所に敵がいたとしたらどうする？
Still, hypothetically speaking, what would you do if the enemy was in a place you thought safe?
何？学校にマスターがいるかもしれないって仮定？
Are we supposing that there's a master at the school?
そうだ。確かに学び屋には生徒と教師以外は入りにくいが、すでに内部の者がマスターだとしたら厄介ではないのか？
Yes. Well, it's hard for anyone who isn't a student or teacher to enter. It could spell trouble if a master has already infiltrated.
それはないんじゃないかな。この町には魔術師の家系は遠坂とあと一つしかないの。そのあと一つっていう家系は落ちぶれてるし、マスターにもなってないし。
I don't think that's likely. The Tosaka are the only functioning mage family left in this town. The other one's gone belly up, so they won't produce any masters.
マスターになっていないとどうしてわかる？
How do you know?
あのね、うち以外に魔術師の家系がいるんなら、真っ先に確かめるのは当然でしょ？
Hey, if there's any other mage families in Fuyuki besides the Tosaka, you can bet I've looked into them already.
そいつマスターにはなってなかったし、あっちの家系の後継者にはマスターになるだけの魔力がないから無視して構わないわ。
He isn't a master. As the heir to that family, he can't wield the strength to become one. We can safely ignore them.
そうか。つまり、リンの通う学校にはもう一人魔術師がいるのだな。だが、マスターになれるほどの魔力を持ち合わせていないと。
I see. so there is another mage at your school, but they lack the magical energy to be a master.
そういうこと。だから他のマスターは外からやってくる連中が大半のはず。そんな連中が学校にまでやってくることはないでしょう。
That's right. Most of the other masters will be coming from outside. They wouldn't be at my school.
まあ、今の段階ではな。
For now,
だ
perhaps.
がリン、何事にも例外は存在する。もし学校に君が知らない魔術師がいたとしたら、どうする？
But there are exceptions to every rule. What will you do if you encounter an unknown mage at school?
だからいないってば。魔術師っていうのは他の同業に敏感なの。1年も同じ学校にいたらね、どんなに隠してても魔術師の存在は感じ取れる。
I'm telling you, it won't happen. Mages are sensitive to each other. I've spent a whole year at that campus, so I'd be able to sense any mage no matter how hard they try to hide.
断言するけど、うちの学校に魔術師は2人しかいないわ。そのうちの1人が私で、もう1人はマスターになるだけの力がない魔術師見習いなの。
I'm certain that there are only 2 mages at school. Me and that probie without enough power to be a master.
わかった？アーチャーの用心はただの杞憂よ。そんなこと絶対にありえないんだから。
Get it now? You're just being paranoid. The scenario you're imagining won't happen.
だから、もしもの話だ。物事には常に裏目が存在する。
Thus why I said hypothetical. But the unexpected has a way of happening.
本来ありえざることが起こるのも、また運命だ。
Sometimes destiny decides to make the impossible come about.
もしそういった事態になった場合、私に八つ当たりをするのだけは思いとどまってほしいと言っているのだ。
If we find ourselves in such a situation, I hope you'll remember not to take it out on me. Archer chuckles dryly. His smug attitude really makes me want to do exactly that, but I'll be late for school if I keep letting him push my buttons.
そんなことあるわけないじゃない。もしもの話っていうのは起きないからもしもの話なのよ。もしそんなことになったら、その時は私の見通しが甘かったってだけなんだから。
Look, it won't happen. It's a what if because it would never happen in the first place. And if it does, it would just mean that I was too naive.
よし、確かに聞いたぞ。それでは行こうか、リン。
I'll remember you said that. Let's get going then.
君の学び屋まで30分。そろそろ出なければ間に合わない時間帯だ。
It takes 30 minutes to get to your school, so you'd better leave soon if you want to be on time.
驚いた。もしもの話って本当にあるのね。
I am legitimately shocked. It really did happen.
私も驚いている。いや、何事もケチをつけておくものだな。思わぬところで役に立った。
I'm surprised as well. It really does pay to be a pessimist. This is our exchange the moment we pass through the front gate. It's almost time for homeroom, so there are students on their way to class. All around us. Archer and I stand still like a pillar amid the swirling human sea.
空気がよどんでるどころの話じゃない。これ、もう結界が張られてない？
The air isn't just stagnant, it's some sort of a bounded field, don't you
完
think?
全にではないが、すでに準備は始まっているようだな。
It isn't finished, but yes, prep work is already
ここ
underway.
まで派手にやっているということは、よほどの大物か。
They must think they're a big shot to go about it this
とん
openly.
でもない素人ね。異常を感じさせる結界なんて三流だもの。やるんなら仕掛ける時まで隠し通しておくのが一流よ。
More an unbelievable amateur. Only a third-rate mage would make such a conspicuous field. Someone with actual skills would conceal it until it was time to strike.
で、君はどちらだと思う？リン。
And how would you rate this mage?
さあ、一流だろうが三流だろうが知ったことじゃないわ。
Who knows? I couldn't care less.
私のテリトリーでこんなゲスなもの仕掛けたやつなんて問答無用でぶっ倒すだけよ。
More importantly, trying such shoddy work in my territory is just going to earn them a beating. I let out an indignant huff as I crossed through the grounds. As a mage, there's no sugarcoating it. I won't be satisfied until whoever made this bounded field gets what's coming to them. I'm on my way back from the music room after second period. I spot a first year wandering in the hallway. She looks like she could use a hand with the large stack of documents she's carrying.
手伝うわ、さくら。
Let me help, Sakura. Huh?
遠坂先輩。何、プリント？世界史って言ったらうちの担任じゃない。クズキのやつ。女生徒に使いをさせるなんて何考えてんだか。ほら、半分貸して。
Printouts? Our class is supposed to take care of world history. What is that Kuzuki thinking? Making you carry all these. Here, I'll take half.
はい。ありがとうございます、先輩。いいっていいって。それじゃこれ、さくらのクラスまで？
It's fine. Are we taking these to your classroom?
クズキ先生のところです。誤字があったから回収するって言ってました。
No, to Mr. Kuzuki. He said he needs to take them back because there is a typo.
納得。クズキは融通きかないからね。一つ誤字があったぐらいで試験を中止させるやつだった。
I can't believe that. Kuzuki's got such a huge stick up his butt. He wants to spend an entire exam over a single typo.
試験って学校の試験をですか？
You made an exam here at this school?
そう。あれは去年の中間試験だったかな。みんながガーッとマークシートを塗りつぶしてる時にやってきてね。誤字があるので正しい問題ではなかった。よって試験は中止。後日改めて行うってあの調子で淡々と言ったのよ。私たちも驚いたけど先生方も驚いてね。今でもあれは語り草よ。
Yeah, it was during midterms last year. It was near the end when everyone's answer sheets were already filled. He just came out and said there's a typo. The questions are incorrect. The exam is suspended and we'll redo it tomorrow. The teachers were as surprised as we were, and people still talk about it.
なんかクズキ先生らしいですね。それ先生、ものを教える立場に間違いは許されないって人ですから。
That does sound like Mr. Kuzuki. He's the type of person who believes teachers shouldn't make any mistakes.
クズキのは度が過ぎてるけどね。さくらもそのうち思い知るわよ。クズキの堅物ぶりったら岩か山かって感じなんだから。
But he goes overboard. You'd better learn while you can that once Kuzuki's got his mind set on something, he's as hard to move as a mountain.
遠坂先輩、クズキ先生のことが好きなんですね。先輩がそんな風に言うなんて珍しいです。
You must like him. It's unusual to hear you talk about someone like that.
そう？まあ、確かにクズキはもうちょっと柔軟性があればなって思うけど。
Is it? I do wish he'd just relax. No, he's alright just the way he is, ultimately. The faculty at our school is made up of both really nice teachers and some real scary ones. It's a delicate balance that Mr. Kuzuki is an important part of. He has to stick to the carrot.
ああ、2年になればもっとクズキと顔を合わせるようになるわ。あいつは倫理も受け持ってるし。
You'll see more of him next year since he teaches ethics.
そんなことよりさくら、ちょっと聞きたいことがあるんだけど、いい？
Alright, Sakura, there's something I want to ask you.
何ですか？昨日の話なんだけど、さくら、見かけない外国人と話してなかった？
It's about yesterday. Were you talking to a foreigner?
見てたんですか、先輩。
You saw that?
たまたま。それであれ何だったの？知り合い？
I just happened to. What's going on? Is he someone you know?
いいえ、それがよくわからない人だったんです。あの人、道に迷ってたみたいでした。いろいろ聞いてくるんだけど、何を言ってるのか聞き取れなくて、
No, I don't really know who he was. It sounded like he was lost. He asked a lot of questions, but I couldn't really understand what he was saying. And that's when she slipped away.
そっか。ごめんなさい。少しだけ気になったから。
I see. Sorry, I was just curious.
いえ、構いません。ここまででいいです、先輩。あとは届けるだけですから。
Oh, I don't mind. Oh, it's just in here. I can get the rest now.
そう？それじゃあまたね。
Okay, see you later then. I returned the printouts to Sakura. But before I head back to my classroom, I found myself stopping.
最近はどう？
How are you lately, Sakura?
はい、大丈夫。元気です、私。
I'm okay. I'm doing well.
そう。シンジがまた何かやったら言いなさい。あいつはどってものを知らないから。黙っていると悪化する一方よ。
I see. Let me know if Shinji's up to something. He doesn't know when to quit, so it'll just get worse if you keep quiet.
心配いりませんよ、先輩。兄さん、この頃は優しいんですから。
You don't have to worry. He's been nice lately. There isn't much I can say to a smile. There isn't much I can say to a smile like that. We say our farewells again, and I leave my underclassmen acquaintance. The school day is over. The classroom is steadily empty, and the campus darkens by the hour. The crimson sun will set soon. Once night falls, there won't be anyone left around.
始めるわよ、あーちゃん。まずは結界の下調べ。どんな結界かを調べてから、消すか残すか決めましょう。
Let's begin, Archer. First, we'll investigate the bounded field. Once we determine what type it is, we'll decide whether to erase it or leave it. I speak to my invisible partner. I feel him nod in acknowledgement. Bounded fields are meant to protect their casters. You can consider them a terrain-based magecraft formed by weaving magical energy into a net and applying it to the earth to affect the inside of the field. There are countless types of effects they can have, ranging from wards that isolate an area from the outside world to avoid detection, to fields that limit the type of magecraft that can be activated within. The most offensive type suppresses biological functions inside the area of effect, and that's what's been applied to the school grounds. While it isn't finished, everyone in the school will collapse once it's activated. Something like that wouldn't work on me, though. Bounded fields are, after all, targeted at the area I'm in, not me specifically. Such indirect magical interference when affect a mage with magical energy flowing through her body. Similarly, the electrical charges that flow in the atmosphere won't disturb the electrical currents within my body. That means the bounded field has some other purpose. Whoever it is that put this thing here isn't trying to defeat a master with it. I don't want to believe it, but they're targeting all the people within the school. There's only one possible reason for that. It's a thought I can't stomach. After checking it all around campus, I finished my search of on the roof. It's thoroughly dark outside now. The school gates shut at 6 p.m. and it's now 8 p.m. Archer and I are the only ones left, and Archer's in his spirit form.
これで7つ目か。とりあえずここが起点みたいね。
Looks like this makes the 7th one. Looks like this is the origin point. So, just to clarify something, I watched, like, the first season of the Unlimited Blade Works anime, like, 6 years ago, I think. But, I personally thought it was kind of boring, so I never watched the second season, but I do kind of remember where this is heading. Unless anything changes, but I don't think we're gonna get route split at that part until like later. There are 8 symbols boldly drawn on the rooftop. They're purplish red marks that only a mage can see. I've never seen or heard of sigils like these.
入ったな。これ私の手には負えない。
Well, they've got me there. I don't know what to do about this. Whoever set up this bounded field did it recklessly. But while imprudent, the magical working itself is an order of magnitude beyond my own skills. I can temporarily erase the energy of the curse, but I have no way to dispel the bounded field itself. All the spellcasters need to do is supply it with more energy to reactivate the curse's effects. Archer doesn't comment. I don't comment either, I'm too tired. Excuse me. He's probably remained silent since encountering the rooftop sigils, because he too has realized their nature. This bounded field does more than drain its victim's stamina. It will literally melt everyone inside once it's turned on. There are bounded fields which rob victims of their life force and spiritual energy, but the spell that's been applied to the school grounds is on a whole different level. This is no less than a soul eater, a blood fort which melts the human bodies inside it and forcibly collects the souls that ooze out. Since antiquity, souls have always been difficult to handle. They are theorized to exist and are considered to be necessary components of magecraft, but only one mage has ever proven their existence. Our definition of soul stops at that which examines within and that which is transferred between vessels. To not only extract souls, but then capture them in one place, it defies comprehension. What's a mage supposed to do with a bunch of energy we can't even convert? So if I had to think of a purpose for it... Archer, is that what you and your kind are? It comes out colder than I
ご
intended.
推察の通りだ。我々は基本的に霊体だと言っただろう。故に、食事は第二、ないし第三要素となる。
You surmised correctly. I did say that we are fundamentally spiritual beings. That means we feed on the second and third factors, the soul and the mind. Wait, so can he read her thoughts? Because sometimes she thinks like really badly about him, but he doesn't react. So is it like he can read her thoughts, but only if she like lets him? Question mark? Maybe that makes sense to me.
君たちが肉を得ようとするように、サーバントは精神と魂を得ようとする。
Just as you sustain yourselves with the flesh of creatures, we serve as direct nutrition for the mind and soul.
栄養を取ったところで基本的な能力は変わらないが、取り入れれば取り入れるほどタフになる。つまり、魔力の貯蔵量が上がっていくというわけだ。
While said nutrition doesn't change our base abilities, acquiring more of it does make us more durable. It increases our reserve of magical energy, in other words. He's right. The way to make your own servant stronger is to indiscriminately attack beings. So your own master's magical energy isn't
足りな
enough?
くはないが、大いに越したことはない。実力が劣る場合、弱点を武士で補うのが戦争だろ。
It's sufficient, but it never hurts to have more. In war, some weaknesses can be compensated with material when one is lacking in fighting strength.
周囲の人間からエネルギーを奪うのは、マスターとしては基本的な戦略だ。そういった意味で言えば、この結界は効率がいい。
It's a basic strategy for a master to take energy from the humans around them. In that sense, this bounded field is an efficient tactic. Aren't you saying that I should murder people and take their power if I want to win? It's so simple. I've always known this to be true. And I know it's the path I'm supposed to walk. That really teased me off. Don't ever bring it up again. Staring at the sigils, I make my stance clear. Oddly, Archer sounds just as put off.
同感だ。私も真似をするつもりはない。
I agree. I'd never do such a thing. His answer comes firm and resolute. Time to erase this then. It won't do much good, but I can at least slow it down. I approach the sigil and extend my left hand. The magic crest engraved on my arm is like a grimoire passed down through the Tosaka line. A mental switch is flicked. I pass magical energy through the magic crest, load a verse bounded field erasure, take a deep breath, and activate it. Sorry. I then send a pulse of mental energy via my left hand. And that should wash away the sigil for now.
なんだよ、消しちまうのか？もったいね
What? You're gonna erase it? What a waste. Ugh. Suddenly, a third voice chimes in while I'm casting the spell. I whirl around. Sup, bro? Yeah, I kind of knew this was gonna happen. I remember this from the anime. A man is perched on top of the water tower, some 10 meters above, looking down at me. He's clad in a deep blue that blends into the night. His mouth is drawn into a grin, and he has a bestial air around him. The beast's gaze is sharp and clear. In this bizarre situation, the man in blue watches me as if he's greeting a friend he hasn't seen in a
こ
decade.
れあなたの仕業？
Did you do
え。
this?
いや、小細工を浪するのは魔術師の役割だ。俺たちはただ命じられたまま戦うのみ。だろ？そこの兄さんよ。
Nah, it's a mage's job to play little tricks. We just fight whomever we're ordered to. Isn't that right, mate? His tone is lethal yet carefree. This man can see Archer.
やっぱりサーバント。
You're a servant.
そうとも。で、それがわかるお嬢ちゃんは、俺の敵ってことでいいのかな？
That I am. And if you know that, you must be my enemy. My spine tenses. The man's voice is detached and nonchalant, but it's colder than anyone I've ever heard. So scary it's nauseating. What's the best move here? I don't know. My brain is still working enough to tell me that I absolutely must not fight him.
ほう、大したもんだ。何もわからねえようで要点は抑えてやがる。
Oh, I'm impressed. Here I was thinking you don't know heads from tails, but you figured out what really counts.
ああ、失敗したなこりゃ。面白がって声をかけるんじゃなかったぜ。
I blew that. Shouldn't have gone out of my way to taunt you. The man raises an arm. It appears in a flash. His once empty hand now holds a scarlet 2-meter-long weapon. My legs throw me to the side before I can think. There isn't time even to hesitate about jumping off the roof. With all my might, I make a mad dash for the fence, intending to barrel right through it. A cyclone lifts my hair into the air, aims by the skin of my teeth. In that instant, something slices the space I was just in, tearing the fence apart with it.
いい足してるな、お嬢ちゃん。
You've got a nice pair of legs on you. A blue whirlwind pursues me. There's no way out. The fence behind me, my flanks are cut off. I won't make it. I react swiftly. My magic crest surges to life so I can weave out a single count magecraft. The spell lightens mass and manipulates gravity. Light as a feather, my body bounds into the air.
分かってる。任せて。
I know, I've got this. And I jump over the fence to plummet off the roof. Air resistance and gravity push and pull along my body. It's about 15 meters to the ground, 1.7 seconds away. Too slow. He's going to catch up to me.
ゴッドエスアドレス。アーチャー、着地任せた。
Archer, handle the landing! I let Archer absorb the shock of the landing and break into a dash as soon as we touched down. I couldn't stay on that rooftop. We need a less cramped area from which to maneuver freely. A battlefield without obstacles where Archer and I can truly shine. It takes me less than 7 seconds to escape from the roof to the schoolyard. A distance over 100 meters crossed at a pace no normal person could manage, much less clearly see. And yet...
いや、本気でいい足だ。ここで仕留めるのはいささかもったいなさすぎるか。
You really do have good legs. I almost feel bad about having to kill you here. Against a servant, it's wasted effort. Archer! At the same time I draw back, Archer materializes before me. It's a cloudy night. Archer's hand grips a short sword that faintly reflects the morning light. The moonlight, sorry. The man's lips twist into an ominous sneer.
いいね。そう来なくっちゃ。話が早いやつは嫌いじゃない。
Yeah, that's how this ought to be. Can't say I hate guys like you who are quick on the uptake. The whirlwind flows. It's the weapon he swung at me on the rooftop, a spear of blood like crimson that came mercilessly from my own head.
ランサーのサーバント。
いかにも。そういうあんたのサーバントはセイバ
That's me. That must make your servant a saber.
ーって感じじゃねえな。何者だ、てめえ。
Nah, he doesn't feel like one. Who the hell are you? Gone is his carefree ease from a moment ago. Archer stays silent, facing off against Lancer's unconcealed bloodlust. There's just under 5 meters between them. Lancer's weapon is nearly 2 meters long. It doesn't feel like this beast of a man is going to be deterred by a mere 3-meter difference.
まっとうな一騎打ちをするタイプじゃねえな、てめえは。ってことは、アーチャーか。
I can tell you're not the type to settle things man to man. That must make you Archer. Archer doesn't take the bait. An unusual class of blue and red stare each other down. The two knights, somewhat similarly dressed, mutually calculate the other's demise.
いいぜ。好みじゃねえが、出会ったからにはやるだけだ。そら、獲物を出せよ、アーチャー。
Alright. All that's left is to throw down. Draw your bow, Archer.
これでも礼はわきまえているからな。それぐらいは待ってやる。
Not how I usually do this, but I'm polite enough to wait that long. Archer doesn't answer. His back is as steely as a sword seems to convey that. He must not have anything to say to someone he must defeat. That's when I realize it. I'm such a fool. Archer was waiting for my word. I call out to him without getting any closer. Don't hold back. Show me everything you've got. Was that a laugh? The Red Knight surges forward, his lips curled in response. Wind swirls. A scarlet bullet flies forth, blade in hand. A blue spear thrust intercepts him. If the charging archer is a gust of wind, then the spear tip that rises to meet him is a divine storm. Streaking blades, elegant parries. Archer is put up on the defensive, fending off the swift thrust with his short sword. The man in red is stopped in his tracks, his advance denied by the enemy. He can't even breach the 2-meter coverage of the spear. A polearm wielder can control his opponent's range. Lancer, with his nearly 2-meter reach, needs to simply engage his foe whenever he comes within range. It's easier for him to stab at an advancing opponent than it is for him to go after Archer himself. Despite this, Lancer closes the distance. Fucking Christ! I'm trying to read fast because it's action-packed, but God, I suck at reading fast. Lancer closes the distance himself to press the attack, all the while keeping Archer from advancing further. You're a damn fool of a bowman, trying to challenge me in close combat. Lancer's snarl is fiery. With each thrust, Lancer closes in, the assault never letting up for a second, moving in too close to suicide for a spear wielder. The advantage of a spear is the ability to control the enemy's position. Lancer shouldn't have a chance if he keeps closing in. But that's only according to conventional wisdom. Unerringly, unceasingly, Lancer's spear seeks to pierce Archer's throat, shoulder, forehead, heart. The strikes are too swift to even leave an afterimage. Archer is forced to parry, blocker, evade every move of the spear. Any strike, if true, would be a mortal blow. Still, Archer is a servant, even if he specializes with the bow. He won't be brought down so easily by mundane attacks. The thrust at his forehead is quickly batted aside, and Archer renews his charge in spite of Lancer's spear. One might think that swordplay is all there is to Archer's attacks, but he's exploiting a weakness of spear tactics. Against the spear's considerable reach, neither retreat nor evasion are viable defenses for long. A half-hearted withdrawal isn't enough to get out of range, while probing attacks will lead to evisceration. A reckless charge will similarly end in impalement at the edge of the spear's range. Archer and Lancer have more or less the same physical stature. Without heavy armor, it's difficult for Archer to penetrate the lethal storm of Lancer's attack radius, but Lancer's strikes are a different story. The high-speed thrusts intended to pierce vital points are indeed terrifying. But each strike has a set of trajectory and target. If one can predict these, then there are ways to avoid harm. Just as Archer is doing, one can block the strikes aimed at vital points or just barely evade their arcs to create safe openings. Lancer probably underestimated him as a ranged specialist. The advantage of a long weapon is the generous range at which one can engage the opponent. By giving that up, Lancer has assured his. The man in red stops in his tracks, and watch Nightmare unfold as if time had rewinded. Lancer's attacks become even faster than before. Archer's short sword is knocked aside as he twists to avoid being skewered. Lancer's spear doesn't allow retreat. Rather, his endless attacks are so fierce and sharp that even servants are doomed against them. We were the ones who underestimated our enemy. That Lancer and his spear can be described in mundane martial terms. Who could possibly survive such a relentless barrage? Archer beats a desperate retreat while parrying strikes, creating slightly more distance between the fighters. In that moment, Lancer steps into the gap and unleashes an even more ferocious attack. The storm of attacks is a little different from what he's already been doing, but their execution is truly godlike. They've already clashed 10 times. No, it's actually several times more than that. The torrent of spears strikes increases again in intensity and number, threatening to take Archer's life 1,000 times over. Where are we at? Okay. It isn't even a change in speed, but in precision. At a steady pace, Lancer's spear comes down on Archer like a waterfall. How can Archer get it inside his guard? With such a short weapon, all he can do is defend against the spear. He has no way to close in on Lancer. In fact, he's being forced backwards. The steel vacuum stretches out. I should be backing Archer up, but the right words die in my throat. My magecraft isn't easy to aim precisely. I risk hitting Archer too if he can't get far away enough from Lancer. Meanwhile, Lancer's advantage will only deepen. And to be honest, I'm captivated by their duel. So this is a battle between servants. The Holy Grail War is a battle between familiars of the highest order, heroic spirits, beings that we can't begin to approach. Servants. Familiars divided among 7 classes and roles, serving 7 masters. Supreme Familiar is called forth by the Holy Grail itself. Familiar is really a misnomer here for them. Familiars are supposed to be subservient minions who act on behalf of a mage. Normally, you'd imagine something like Puss in Boots, an elegant white bird, or a disobedient black dog, something like that. Those sorts of familiars are what a typical mage can manage to command. Familiars are just that, from the Latin for a menial servant. It's inconceivable that a mascot used for menial labor would be stronger than his master. Servants are a different story. They're quite literally the most powerful examples of humanity. Even the 5 magicians wouldn't be able to control them. It's difficult to summon a servant, not because servants are more powerful than mages. Servants are beings that surpass magecraft itself. To be clear, servants are heroes of the past, myths, legends, fables, histories. We call the glorious superhumans from our traditions heroes, whether tales are true or not. Immortalized by what humanity says about them, they cease to be merely human after death and ascend to something greater. People who work miracles, who save the multitudes, who accomplish great feats, are elevated to the status of heroes, either in life or after death. They become a type of elemental we call heroic spirits, guardians of the human race. It doesn't matter whether they were historical people or characters from mythology. Heroes are created by the thoughts of the people. We imagine them as the idols we wish they were, and treat them as if they were real. Objective proof is irrelevant. Frame and faith are sufficient to give form to these legends. They're humanity's ultimate ideals, the greatest among us. That's what it means to be a hero and a heroic spirit. Naturally, it's impossible for a human to control something greater than a human. What mages usually do is borrow a portion of their power and imitate their feats. Summoning a complete heroic spirit is simply impossible, yet the Holy Grail makes it possible. It allows us to summon these spirits in the flesh and even bind them to our command. The sheer absurdity of it proves the Grail's omnipotence. That's how heroic spirits are summoned from across time, whether from the age of gods or as recent as a century ago. The 7 heroic spirits serve and protect their 7 masters, and each master sends their servants out to defeat enemy masters. It's a death match between heroes of every age and every land. And that's the story behind the ritual we call the Holy Grail War. Of course, there are limits to what the Grail can do. Even the Holy Grail can indiscriminately summon mythic beings akin to elementals, just as the form created by the people is required to materialize the 6th theoretical factor known as demons. Heroic spirits need a material form to operate in this world. This is their temporary label, and the way they're allowed to exist in this world. The Holy Grail provides vessels that heroic spirits can easily materialize in, called classes, and only heroic spirits that fit these classes can be summoned. A class is like a passport that lets a heroic spirit visit the modern era to act as a familiar. It's a material vessel that they temporarily possess. There are 7 masters and 7 heroic spirits to serve them. Each is assigned to one of 7 classes. Saber, the Knight of the Sword. Lancer, the Knight of the Spear. Archer, the Knight of the Bow. Rider, the Cavalier. Caster, the Mage. Assassin, the Silent Killer. Berserker, the Mad Warrior. Only heroic spirits with attributes corresponding to the 7 classes can be summoned to the modern world, and they become servants who the master commands. That's the servant system. Humans summon and make contracts with heroic spirits beyond our ability to handle, all in hopes of winning a miracle beyond our ken. It's the greatest of battles that can only happen here in this land, like no other Holy Grail war. The duel reaches an even higher pitch. The short sword goes flying from Archer's hand after blocking one of Lancer's strikes. Lancer's skill is consummate. A seemingly straight thrust suddenly whipping into a disarming arc at Archer's wrist. It was an attack that Archer couldn't have avoided, even if he saw it coming. There isn't an effective way to parry the spear with the sword. A forceful block is countered with an even keener strike. While defending the minimal force will never create an opening to exploit. The clash between sword and spear is shaping up into an intense struggle to defeat an enemy outside of Archer's reach. You fool. There's no hesitation in Lancer, even as he taunts Archer. He pauses from the constant pressure he puts on Archer. Does he intend to settle the duel in an instant? Lancer takes out a firmly rooted stance, trading a fiery glare with the now unarmed Archer. It happens in an instant. In the span of a breath, Lancer loses a flurry of blows that's no less than a flash of light, imperceptible. Forehead, neck, and heart. Spear moves to skewer all 3. And yet... another flash of light counters the first that I couldn't even follow. Archer's hand grasps the short sword once more. Like the weapon he used earlier, it's a Chinese sword not dissimilar to a cleaver. But the greatest difference between them is... a dual wielder, huh? Blade and blade. In each hand he grips a sword, each clearly meant to complement the other. Playing swordsman, are we? Lancer's spear sings through the air. It becomes even faster, as if to herald Archer's certain death. The duel has become a symphony of clashing blades. 2 steel instruments play at a resounding chorus, the sparks of their conflict rising to a never-ending crescendo. Their battle is like a vacuum. It sucks in all air around it, making me feel like I'll be cut if I even dare to approach. It all happened in an instant, really. But as I watched with bated breath, the moment seemed to stretch on. Lancer keeps his foe out of his fatal pocket, while Archer attempts to close the gap with his shield of annual swords. They've clashed over 100 times already, Archer losing a weapon each time. But instantly another sword appears in Archer's empty hand, and Lancer is slightly driven back at each time. As finally acknowledged his miscalculation, he has no idea who he's fighting against, but it would naturally be mistaken if keep dismissing his opponent as a brown woman.